Hello everybody and welcome back to yet another cast. Guys, today I have an epic 4v4 for you on this map, Aramon, Chili Rivers. Now I did recently do a 2v2 on this same map, and I don't think I've ever cast a big team game on this specific map, so I'm very excited to see what this game has in store for us. I'm going to introduce the map a little bit. As I mentioned before, it is really interesting. It's got this naval portion of it on both sides. You, of course, have the islands on the northwest and southeast. And you have these plateaus with metal and geothermals on them at 4 points of the map. So this map is very well designed for all different styles of gameplay and combat, including land, air, sea, hover, and anything else you can possibly think of. There's going to, hopefully, this is going to be an epic game, a 4v4 on this type of map. But before I jump into this game, guys, I do have an announcement. This Friday, February 9th, we are going to be doing a TAF Escalation gaming night. Guys, I will put the link to my Discord below. At this point, we are playing TAF games or playing Escalation games pretty much all week. Every night, so we would love to have you as part of our community. Players of all skill levels are welcome. We have people that are just starting. It is okay. We welcome you. We want you to be part of our community. So I'll put the link to the Discord in the channel, and we would love to have you as part of our community this Friday, the 9th. But let's jump into the game here. Harold already with his first bomber, a bomber coming out, and in dark green, BR with his own bomber as well. So both Harold and dark green rushing the bomber strategy early on in this match, and we'll have to see what they can get done. Dark green does get this first metal extractor and a defender. So that is quite annoying for yellow for sure. He only had the one missile tower, and this bomber still very healthy. But Harold with his own bombing run here in the south, already taking out 2 mexes. He will take out a third and a fourth before his bomber finally goes down. So dark green taking out 3 bombers of his own. Yellow forced to throw up a defender. And Harold taking out 4 mexes of his own. Nice job by both teams with a player going an early bomber, causing some serious economic damage. But I have to say, dark green has done a great job, because yellow has been put into an impossible situation. 3 of his mexes have been taken out here by this bomber, and because he doesn't have a lab, he can either waste the time to send his commanders to rebuild these, or go into ships, and he will finally finish his shipyard, but he is losing so much metal per second by not having these. He is going to have to eventually come up here and reclaim these. So dark green crippling yellow's economy for this moment. And yeah, what a frustrating situation for yellow to be in. This is one of the downsides of starting naval first, is that you don't have any cons to help you rebuild or expand in a situation like that. It can be quite devastating. But hang on 1 second, as Brown with an early Pee-wee getting some harassment done, attempting to use some nano blocking here. So let's introduce our teams. In the north, we have Art, our light blue player. Harold is red. In purple, we have QAZ, and yellow, we have the Rat Pack Hasano, his commander, now having to be brought back to rebuild these mexes. And in orange, we have Walker, Mr. Texas Ranger, dark green BR with his early bomber play, in blue, Reaper. And finally, in poop brown, we have Robbo. So now that we've gotten the introductions out of the way, let's talk about the game. Orange has also gone naval first, so both yellow and orange going naval instead of hovers. But here in light blue, Art has decided to go hovers, while Brown started K-bots and now going into shipyards. So 3 players going into naval, 1 going into hover. In terms of the land, or in terms of the players starting in the back, both teams have an air player. Purple going K-bot, and blue going vehicle. So I think we will start to see a clash of armies near the middle pretty early on, I would think. And it seems like the clash will be closer to the north. There's not a ton of defense here. There's only 1 light laser tower here, but not a massive amount of defense. Red only has his commander for now, and he wants to be careful, Mr. Harold. Building energy storages too close to the front line. Those are a great target as they explode quite an impressive fashion, and they can take out parts of your base. It's a very volatile target. Some early skirmishes between blue and purple here. Nice micro by purple. Bringing his construction K-bots back, keeping them behind the army. Maybe even using them to reclaim some of this juicy metal that has been left behind. But hold that thought, because orange has now become the aggressor in the Western Sea battle, bringing some Vikings to the front line. However, a Crusader is already in the pond, and Crusaders are pretty decent against Vikings, but they can miss. He's going to want to try to keep the Vikings back if he can. Already this Crusader is pretty low, but he's got to keep it alive. This Crusader is the only thing keeping him in the sea at this point, but it is now dead, so yellow in a bit of trouble. However, it looks like he may have a torpedo. Guys, my replayer crashed, and I started the replay multiple times, so there's something wrong with the replay to where I cannot use the sonar command here. We just are going to have to use our imagination about what's under the water. It does look like orange has a submarine. Yellow using his commander to build a harpoon here, and orange using a sub of some sort to attack yellow's commander, and now this torpedo launcher firing back. It will kill that sub. Action happening in the middle. Purple now with warriors, and of course warriors are very, very strong against flashes. Combat happening in the south pond as well. So action all over the map. I will attempt to do the best I can, despite the fact that we cannot see what is happening under the water. Again, we just have to use our imagination. Figure out what we can through the use of logical deduction. This torpedo launcher at about half health here. I don't know how much health Hassano's commander has either, but let's assume he's maybe at about half health, something like that. In my fan fiction, yellow is at half health under the water. That's my fan fiction version of events. Brown telling his team that they're losing mid. But nice micro by dark green, using his fighters to push Harold's shenanigans back. Harold, widely considered the best escalation player in the world right now, and has been for quite some time. So he just does everything very well. Harold has good macro and good micro and good decision making. Just probably the most well-rounded player out there for escalation. He is the guy to beat lots of air combat happening here in the northwestern corner of the map, and it looks like dark green may lose everything. Orange is taking control of most of the pond, as yellow is just stuck in this tiny edge of the map here. I'd really like to see him build a sea constructor and reclaim all this free metal to boost his economy, given that he is just kind of stuck here. He's going to need as many resources as humanly possible. And now brown, also being an aggressor. There's a torpedo under the water. No, it is not this snapper shooting the torpedoes, though it does kind of look like it. The snapper does not have torpedoes. There is a sub belonging to light blue that will push off orange's vanguards. The vanguards have no ability to fight submarines. They don't even have sonar. They will just be forced back. So nice job by our light blue player to defend himself against this first sea raid. Blue pushing forward with Mr. Reaper with quite a few javelins. And I do think the javelins can slightly outrange the warriors, but if the warriors can get into range of their firing solutions, they will melt the javelins. So it is a very micro-intensive battle, but blue has built a nice wall of LLTs as well, and light blue with a couple submarines now moving down the map. The only thing that can hit them here are these crusaders, and using these vanguards to body block the torpedo shots. The only problem is this isn't going to last for very long. Vanguards are not extremely tanky. They're more of mid-range frigates. They only can take a few torpedoes. These two submarines now doing a lot of work, and Harold pushing through with the storm meta. Harold is the one that said it was a storm meta. Now he's got to prove it. Are we in a storm meta? Purple trying to push through, but a nice line of defenses here. Action happening all over the map, but these submarines are going to get overwhelmed. There's too many crusaders. So we'll force light blue to send his submarine back to his original base. And again, orange has taken control of the sea up here, but yellow is building a nice little fleet. He does need to reclaim all of this metal, though. This is just sort of unacceptable. Guys, if you're ever in a game, please reclaim metal. Ships, look, these ships are worth so much. 100 metal here, 100 metal here, 122, 100 to 448 free metal on that one. So just so much free metal sitting in the ocean. And now Reaper on Bulldogs. That will push Harold back for sure. Bulldogs quite strong against the storm meta. I don't know who said it was a storm meta. To me, it looks more like a bulldog meta right now. And a blue perhaps pushing Harold back into his own light laser towers. That would be quite a trap that he has set. But yeah, Bulldogs, very strong, and orange offering assistance from the sea. What is Harold doing? Harold is on T2 bots now for core. Pumping out some constructors at the moment, and still on air as well. So it may take quite a while for blue to actually reach Harold's base, but at the moment he has very little to defend himself against these bulldogs, and storms from dark green as well. Let's take a look at the islands. Dark green has control of the top left island, and brown, it seems, is taking control of the south east island, but light blue also fighting for it with a couple hovers. And looks like more submarines being built by the shipyard, so a very close game at this moment. I can't really see the eco because the replayer is broken. So I couldn't really tell you at the moment who is ahead or which team is winning. I feel like the southern team has the better map position. They have control of this island. Another fight for the sky. Harold bringing his Avengers in to stop these cormorants from simply gun shipping Yellow's base to death. And Yellow probably wants to build some air defense here to stop that as well. But Blue now pushing through with the help of Orange. This is a nice coordination here between Blue and Orange, using those offshore batteries. The the Enforcers mixed with the Bulldogs. Quite a potent combination. And I'd like to see Blue pushing through here. Harold doesn't have that much to defend this. He is now spamming out Dominators, though. But, yeah, I'd like to see the southern team strike while the iron is hot. Brown pushing down in this Rocco Storm meta. Pushing light blue off the island. And so the southern team will take control of both islands here. Economically, that should give them a nice advantage. Harold moving forward with a small contingent of Dominators. The Dominator is a sort of unit in this game that needs to reach critical mass to be truly useful. 1 or 2 Dominators, not that scary. But 10 to 20 Dominators can take over the game. Harold getting upset with his teammate, asking light blue to take the island. But it may be more difficult than Harold thinks. Brown has created a nice beachhead here. Warriors and Roccos. Combat happening in the sea again. Crusaders versus submarines. But the Crusaders are going to win this. Crusaders do beat submarines in a 1v1 fight. So these submarines are going to be, I think, simply crushed here. But light blue bringing his own Enforcers into the fray. And a couple of snappers as well, so the battle is still pretty close. The submarines are dead. Or almost dead. Now they're dead, but now the combat between the destroyers. This destroyer is badly damaged. Light blue having just enough, perhaps, to push back the brown player. And now yellow has established his own beachhead on the northern island. Not content to just give it away for free to dark green. And it seems like dark green, he has invested his resources elsewhere, now having gone into T2 air. So he doesn't really have the necessary forces to defend his island at this moment. As yellow with this 1 K-Bot lab could have enough to simply push him off the island. A nice battle in the sea, but orange is on T2 and executioners are kings of the sea. Quite effective. The cruiser, they have a ton of health. They have a forward firing Gauss cannon and depth charges to boot, and I think a light laser as well for anything that gets too close. So the executioner is very, very strong. They are designed to control the sea, and they will do that extremely effectively with flying colors. So the more of these executioners orange pushes out, the more dire that things will become for our yellow player. Even destroyers don't stand much of a chance. The executioner just better at these naval engagements. We'll begin taking scouts. Harold reaching perhaps the critical mass of Dominators he needs. These will outrange the Bulldogs with pinpoint accuracy. This is a problem for Blue. He is sending these Bulldogs in, straight into the Dominators, and Herald is kiting him into oblivion. Our blue player needs to be careful here. And purple bringing some spiders in as well for the paralysis effect. Cormorants coming in the north to aid the naval engagement. But Herald now pushing blue back. More combat in the southeastern pond as well. Forcers against Crusaders. Looks like there may be no submarines. It looks like it's just a battle of destroyers. But light blue has more destroyers. And now orange with the second executioner. And that is going to be very terrifying for our yellow player, as he simply does not have the sort of army or technology that he needs to push orange back. As these executioners, again, kings of the sea, quite strong against any naval threat on the T2 phase. So what I would like to see is orange pushing into yellow's base, as yellow just doesn't really have enough to stop him. Do not give your opponents time to react. If you can kill them, be decisive. And orange did take out yellow's K-Bot lab, which will force him to perhaps build another one if he wants to keep pushing dark green off this island. Blue pushing through the mid with an army of bulldogs, but again, Herald outplaying him. Some very good kiting. And using the cloaking, or excuse me, the radar jamming as well. A bit of a miss micro here. Moving those Dominators into range of the Bulldogs. The Bulldogs will be paralyzed by his teammates. And using some air as well to get some Avenger missiles into the fray. So now orange, he is on the doorstep of yellow's base, and once he takes out this harpoon, there will simply be nothing left to stop him from just killing yellow's commander, who I believe he's still up here, but yellow has been kicked out of the sea. Orange has taken control completely of the northern pond. Third executioner now. A fourth a fourth executioner. So he can stop building these. He has control of the sea. Now he can start building Rangers. Or excuse me, what are they called? Messengers, maybe? Hydra. Yeah. Orange can start building Hydras now to shell the land and cause all kinds of problems for the northern team. The Hydras, of course, the vertically launching T2 naval cruiser. And it seems like brown has managed to secure this island completely. Dark green has lost most of this island. And yellow scrambling to build yet another K-Bot lab after the first one was destroyed by orange. But really, yellow is in a lot of trouble. He doesn't have much left. He's been kicked out of the Navy, or kicked out of the water. He can't really move his commander back to safety because these ships will kill him. So yellow in a lot of trouble. If dark green decides to just build some gunships, he could easily come and snipe yellow's commander and take him out of the game. Even with just these hurricanes that he has, he could do quite a bit of damage. And now building the Hydras. So, northern team in a very good position. Let's see what Herald's doing. Herald building an army of Freakers. So, to my viewers, if you don't know what a Freaker is, it is a unit in Escalation that is designed for the purpose of raiding. That's pretty much all it does. It's not meant for combat. It's not meant to kill other military units. It is only designed for running past your enemy's defenses and killing as much eco and production as you can possibly get your hands on. So Harold is attempting some kind of raiding strategy here. He may try to get these freakers. It's hard to say where he's going to take them. He could try to snipe Blue's commander. He could definitely take this out. Maybe try to get up the hill, kill these wind farms. We're going to find out right now what he's doing with them. And as I mentioned before, dark green, he knew exactly where yellow's commander was. And he will go for the snipe, taking yellow out of the game. So now it is a 3v4, as our yellow player was simply kicked out of the sea by orange and then killed by dark green. And now Harold going for his own kind of counterattack. Again, these freakers have almost no combat value. They are only used for raiding. He wants to get these into Blue's base. Maybe snipe his commander. Maybe kill the advanced vehicle plant. Maybe take out some wind generators. It seems like kind of a desperate play here. Blue needs to use the D-gun. Blue... Okay, a nice D-gun there. His commander is still at about half health. And with the assistance of his teammates, Harold's plan is foiled. Harold is not able to successfully take out Blue's commander. Blue does, however, accidentally D-gun his own advanced vehicle plant, so that's never a situation you want to be in. But light blue has finally decided it is time to attack and kill brown, kick him out of the sea. However, dark green is ready for this. The combination of cormorants and rapiers, and light blue has no anti-air defense to speak of. He will simply eviscerate all of light blue's naval presence here, as there's just nothing in the area to even hurt light blue's aerial superiority in this situation. Can light blue kill the advanced shipyard before he is taken out of the sea, before this attack is killed off? It looks like he won't even get the advanced shipyard. It only had a couple of hits left, but this situation is beginning to look quite dire for the northern team. Yellow is out. Orange is on the doorstep and building a vehicle plant here. Orange has built a vehicle plant and now starting to pump out cons, and so this is going to become an existential threat for our northern team. Harold is going to have to put his team in his backpack and carry them to victory here, because they are very, very much in a terrible situation. Dark green sending some scouts in to see what he can see. I don't think he should stop them here, though. Harold will find these. Harold will take out these scouts before they can accomplish anything. However, orange has built a shredder, 2 shredders. So, yeah. A little bit of a micromanagement failure by dark green. It would have been nice to see what was going on, but can Harold bring this game back from what seems like an unwinnable situation for our northern team? It is just looking so dire. Losing control of both islands, 1 player down, stuck into a tiny corner of the map. Light blue unable to kick brown out of the sea and take control of the southeastern pond. Again, I don't know what Harold can do here. He is on T2 air, so building Vamps. Vamps will, of course, allow him to take control of the sky, but that's not the same as winning. And now orange exerting more pressure with this vehicle plant that he's built on the shore. Leveler's being pumped out pretty quickly now. Harold is going to have to carry his team. This is just a terrible situation to be in for the poor northern side. Harold with a nice combination of Dominators and Mortys, though. And it will be difficult to break through for sure. But can they actually get out of this tiny corner of the map that they are stuck in? Purple bringing Fidos into the fray, pushing them to the north. Trying to kick orange off the island. Do not want this cancer to spread until it becomes terminal. Got to kick orange out here. Harold, now that he has taken out most of blue's army, will now do a nice counterattack. And to be honest, I'm a little surprised the southern team has not haven't really built much defenses, or they haven't built many defenses here at the front. Generally on a map like this you would see quite a lot of defense being built by both teams to prevent these aggressive kind of engagements, but there is almost nothing here. And can Harold pull his team back from the precipice? Again, dark green does have quite an impressive air force here. Harold doesn't have much air defense in his army, however he has a huge squadron of vamps ready to move to the front line at a moment's notice. So Harold seemingly having all his bases covered here, and the southern team really failing to create a proportional response. Are they just going to let Harold move down the map with this army of Dominators and Mortys and simply kill their base? I did not expect this. I really thought the southern team had better control, but it doesn't seem like they're responding very well at all. Even if orange built a warlord, the battleship just shelling red's army from the shore could give them at least a moment, a moment to collect themselves and build a counter here. Build the right units that they need to stop this, but bulldogs are not the right unit. Executioners are going to be okay against Mortys. They don't have the greatest range. The Mortys are probably going to be able to outrange them and kite them. So again, Harold is now pushing down the middle of the map onto blue here, onto what blue has. But bulldogs are just not the right answer here. Bulldogs are just never going to get in range of this army. They're simply going to die slowly to the withering fire of Mortys and Dominators as they are kited. Harold now building more Freakers. I really can't believe that Harold is doing this almost single-handedly. His teammates really doing almost nothing at all. Purple can't even manage to kick orange off of the off of their part of the map, and light blue not doing much either. So this is a one-man show. Harold is just doing everything here for the northern team. basically playing 1v4. Dark Green finally bringing his rapiers into the fray. However, Harold has the counter to this. He's bringing the Hawks into the fray. It's an epic aerial battle. Will take place. These Reapers, or excuse me, the rapiers will die. However, Harold will lose most of his Hawks as well. But he will get some good scouting information, and now the Freakers moving in. Perhaps to get some damage done, and maybe give him some scouting as well. Dark Green with his own aerial superiority fighters. Blue saying he lost because he didn't have line of sight. No, that is not why you lost. You lost because you did not build the right counters. Bulldogs are not really the counter to Mortys and Dominators. You can build Lugers. You can build Penetrators are decent as well. But even building Guardians and Toasters, the right places, is a good counter to this kind of strategy. Having the right defensive emplacements can push this aggression back. But again, Harold moving through with the Freakers. I cannot believe the Southern team just collapsed like this. Harold has 1v4'd the Southern team. His teammates, again, doing almost nothing the whole game. Really just the minimal amount of effort, and somehow Harold taking on 4 players by himself. I really don't understand this. This shouldn't have worked in any universe. Part of the issue was that multiple players were going to T3. This was not the time to go to T3. Some of my viewers talk about how, you know, T3 is overpowered in Escalation and blah blah blah, it's too strong, but like, this game is a good example of why T3 can actually hurt you. This was a completely inappropriate time for the Southern team to be going to T3. They simply underestimated Harold and thought they didn't need to build defenses, but if they had just invested their resources into a nice defensive line, some Guardians and Dragon's Teeth, and you know, even a Doomsday Machine, Toasters, and what have you, this never would have happened. So T3 can be a curse. There's definitely times to build it, and then there's times that you will get punished. Harold basically taking on all 4 players by himself. It's just unbelievable. And he did it all on 1 advanced K-Bot lab. He didn't even have a second K-Bot lab. Did it all with 1 advanced K-Bot lab. Purple going into T3 here, and that's nice, but again, he hasn't really contributed anything to the game. And light blue on T2 hovers. That is not that effective either. Orange still has this base on the beach. Now pumping out T2. The game is not quite over yet, as Brown on Conquerors and pushing through the sea. And Conquerors will be able to deal fairly well with hovercrafts. So Brown striking back. He's going to take control of the sea. It looks like Purple will at least be able to kill the advanced vehicle plant. Harold taking control of the sky, making sure that Dark Green can't build flat cannons on his island. So, yeah, very nice job, I guess, by Purple. He does manage to kick Orange off the island. And Brown is going to kick Light Blue out of the water momentarily. Once again, Harold, I think, has been gifted this T3 constructor, so he's building a mantle extractor. But the game isn't over. Even though Herald did a lot of damage to the southern team and caused Blue, I think, to leave the game, caused Reaper to leave. Dark Green now trying to go to T3 air. I don't think this is the best time to do it. And Dark Green should really be taking over the resources of Blue that left. But, yeah, right now the game still pretty close. But we went from a situation that felt completely unwinnable just a few minutes ago to now it is looking quite dire for the southern team instead. And, yeah, again, Herald with some freakers. Going to move through and try to get some more economic damage done. Purple working on his first Cerberus. And finally, a Warlord is on the proverbial field, so that will be able to maybe push Herald back, at least from the western side. If only this Warlord had been built as during Herald's main push there, it would have been much harder to get away with what he did. Herald with a veritable army of air cons. Let's go ahead and speed up the game a little bit. There's kind of a lull in the battle as both teams just sort of rebuilding or upgrading to T3 in this case. Herald upgrading his economy and going to T3 himself. So Herald maybe going to wait until he's on T3 to really do anything else. Brown, however, is building our first long-range plasma cannon of the game. And this could become a problem. However, I'm not sure it has the range to even hit Herald's base. We'll have to see. We'll check the range of it here after it's finished. But at this moment, Orange taking out the Moho extractors on the island. On the plateau, rather. And, to be honest with you, I'm a little surprised that Herald went T3 instead of just pumping out sumos. There's really not much on the southern team's side that sumos could not have just killed. Again, sumos are kind of like king of T2 for core. 10 sumos would have just won the game. There was really no reason to go to T3. But of course, we do have God Vision here. Herald with limited information might not realize just how little defense there is. I mean, Herald really could have just ended it. There's just so little down here to stop him from simply killing his opponents. But going to T3 anyway, and now Purple on the first Cerberus. This Bertha is finally complete. Let's see. Okay, so this Bertha can hit most of Herald's base. And Brown telling his team he needs targets for the Big Bertha. However, one Big Bertha is probably not going to be enough. He needs to build at least 2 or 3 of these. It would be nice to see him have a firing squad of Big Berthas, like an army of Big Berthas would be really good here. He needs to have enough to just overwhelm Herald's defenses, and also the more you have, it prevents the enemy from simply bombing your long-range plasma cannon strategy out of existence. If you've got 4 or 5 of them, they can bomb one, but you've still got many alternates. So I would like to see Brown with more than just one Bertha here. You really need to think big. I played a game recently where I went this strategy and I had 3 Vulcans. So, you know, a Vulcan is kind of like 4 or 5 Berthas. So having 3 of them would be like the equivalent of like 10 to 12 Berthas, something like that. That's really what you want to do. 1 Bertha is rarely enough to accomplish much because your enemy can react. And it looks like Purple gave his Cerberus to Herald, and now Herald pushing through the middle. He's got some Pyros in the front line. But these Warlords are on the field now. And these will be able to shell Herald's army from the shoreline. 1 Cerberus, though, can be very, very devastating. The southern team has so little defense. Guys, this is... this is never a situation you want to be in. I just want to say, if you do a team game, and you've got allies, you know, it's like a 4v4, build defenses. Your team needs to work together to build defenses. It's just not acceptable for everyone to just kind of do their own thing and, you know, build their armies like... It's a team game. There needs to be a defensive line. They've had plenty of time to build defenses throughout this game, and just none of them have. Typically in these big team games, several players really contribute to the defensive effort. But Herald just walking through with 1 Cerberus. And you can sort of see in the chat what Orange thinks about that. All it took was 1 Cerberus, really. There was just no defense at all to speak of. Maybe the southern team demoralized, but they didn't have defenses even before this attack. They just never really built defenses. And to be honest, the northern team doesn't have any defenses as well. So, not the best team play this game for sure. This is a very difficult situation for the southern team to be in, as 1 Cerberus often in these team games is not even enough to make a dent. 1 Cerberus will just die almost instantly to the kind of defenses you typically see in these sorts of games. But now has been able to move almost uncontested into the southern team's base. And there's just not much to stop it. Of course, we have some T3 air. But Herald with his own Vamps in the sky. And now Dark Green's commander will die. So, with Dark Green being dropped out of the game, it looks like the southern team's fate is sealed. It seemed like they had the advantage when Orange took over this island. That was definitely a point where it seemed like there was no way that the northern team could win, but Herald finds a way to win 1v4. It's quite unbelievable. Very well played. I did not see this happening. I thought for sure finally Herald was going to lose, but it just didn't happen. So guys, thank you for watching this game. I'd love to see you this Friday, the 9th, at our TAF Escalation gaming event. Please join my Discord. I will post the link in the description. Thank you for watching this, and I will catch you in the next cast.